because right now, really what's missing out here, Martez, and even from my concern, as I've learned over the last, I'm gonna say the last 5 years, really what's missing is the education. It's the information. And I found myself, trying to get into, doing giveaways. And, I'm definitely, I have a nonprofit as well called Wisdom Foundation. And, I'm working with reentry programs, brothers that, got in and, they just need a second chance, and, working with people that just need that mentoringship, people that just have that, I guess they've been told that they're nothing, their self-image and likeness, or their self-image is like down there. And I have another course that I'm putting out and sort of into spiritual economics is what I would put it out there. A lot of people are like, oh, what's that? But it's like, I could show you how to get 100 or 150,000 for your business. But what I was seeing, Martez, is a lot of our brothers out there that wasn't astute into how this game and how this business world worked. They would get the money, but then next thing you know, 4 or 5 or 6 months, maybe a year down the road, they'll be coming back into my office and they'll pretty much be bellied up, dead broke. You understand? So it was more such the mindset in the information that we were, that was lacking out here. And so I just, God dealt with me in that area. And I was like, I don't want to just feel like I'm just dingling a carrot out here. I want to get people the information. And so that's when I went ahead and I implemented my nonprofit, because I want to start doing some work out there in that area, just to be able to do the information, let them know, hey, it is some information here. We can talk. Someone needs for me to come and speak. I'm open to that. And those things are starting to open up for me as well. But that was really me. I just wanted to solve that problem. But at the end of the day, I'm with you, brother. It's like it's serving. It's way more powerful than how much money I'm gonna make every day. It's more how many people can I serve every day. It'll get you into places you would never think that you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would say that, I would tell you this, like, if you ever do anything for the money, it will not last long. It will not
Right.
work out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the things, so usually whenever you have a mission, your mission is like usually powered by your passion. And so
Mm-hmm.
therefore, the reason why, like, I think that anyone who pretty much has a business usually have a foundation or a nonprofit component, only because usually the business model was funded by some kind of passion that the person had. And for me, it was
Mm-hmm.
community. And so when I founded the, Premier Pharmacy, of course, I'm trying to come up with all these different services and all these different things that I'm trying to give everything away. But
Right.
also when you realize that, of course, like, you do want to be able to help and assist, there's also a component that you have to run a business as
Yeah.
well. And so
Mm-hmm.
therefore, that's why sometimes you have to separate the two, where you get the different arms, like for instance, Premier Pharmacy and Wellness Center and Premier Foundation. We're two separate entities. One's a 501c3 and the other one is a for-profit organization. They have two separate boards that operate. And the other misconception that people have is that a nonprofit, a true nonprofit, is actually a business as well. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, I mean, you have bills that you accumulate, and even though you may be a nonprofit or a charity, of course, you still have expenses that you have to have. So it does cost to operate a nonprofit as well.
Right.
For me, like I said, I had so many different like projects that I wanted to do. My heart was like, all over the place with like wanting to do this. And then, they say, well, how are you going to actually make money? Well, maybe you should start a nonprofit. And so that the nonprofit chair and the nonprofit board can focus on how to fill and help you, get your passion out and everything right there. So you also can focus on the business as well on the other side. And so
Mm-hmm.
for the first, pretty much for the first 4 years, Premier Pharmacy was the biggest donor and contributor to the Premier Foundation, because, of course, me being the CEO of Premier Pharmacy and then the chairman of the Premier Foundation, that was a charity that was near and dear to my heart. We've given out over $100,000 back into the community. That was before 20.
Wow, that's amazing. You said it's over $100,000 in scholarships.
Yeah, well, not just in scholarships, but also in services and different donations and everything like
Oh
that.
wow.
So one of our biggest things that we do is we host a scholarship luncheon. In that scholarship luncheon, what we do is we go out and we put an application out, and individuals can apply for this application. They could be in, a high school student graduating, going into college. They could already be in college. They could have
Hmm.
graduated college and are now going into a graduate level program. They could go to trade school. And I wanted this scholarship to be different because one of the things that I realized, like for instance, when I graduated from Florida A&M University in 2010, I mean, to be honest with you, I was completely broke. I was broke. I was in debt, and I had accepted a job in Charlotte, North Carolina. And originally, I'm in Florida. I went to school in Tallahassee, Florida. But to be honest with you, I really did not have the finances to relocate to, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right.
My job at the time had gave me a small moving bonus, but the moving bonus would come after I already had moved and started. So I still had to have the funds up front to actually move myself here to North Carolina. And what I found was that a lot of students who were graduating and everything, they were turning down opportunities just because they couldn't get to interviews. They couldn't afford to relocate so
Mm.
I wanted to be able to provide a different type of scholarship that provided resources to the underserved to help level the playing field. So basically, those scholarships are a resource that will allow that individuals to go into a new market and compete on the same level as others that may have, the funding or may have, come from a wealthy background or something to that effect.